Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ms Louisa, and today for my story time, I will be reading Nobody Hugs a Cactus by Carter Goodrich and Penguin Flies Home, a flight school story by Lita Judge. Please sit down, get comfortable, and book number 1. Nobody Hugs a Cactus by Carter Goodrich. Hank lived in a pot. The pot sat in a window. The window looked out at the empty desert. It was hot, dry, peaceful, and quiet, just the way Hank liked it. But every now and then, somebody would interrupt Hank's peace and quiet. "Hi, Hank," Rosie the tumbleweed called out. "Isn't it a beautiful day?" Hank ignored her. He just wanted to be left alone. "Okay, so long," said Rosie cheerfully, and she tumbled away. Hank was happy again. But just as he was beginning to relax, "Hello!" shouted a tortoise. "Private property!" yelled Hank. "Keep out!" The tortoise was so frightened he hid in his shell. Hank was still yelling at the tortoise when a jackrabbit dashed by. "Hiya, Prickles!" she shouted. "My name isn't Prickles!" Hank yelled back, "and stay out of my yard." "Tumbleweeds, tortoises, jackrabbits, what's next?" said Hank. A coyote came looping by. "No dogs allowed," Hank yelled. "I'm not a dog," said the coyote, "and you are as prickly on the inside as you are on the outside." Before Hank could yell back at the coyote, a cowboy strode past. "Keep off the grass," shouted Hank. "What grass?" said the cowboy. "Seems to me somebody needs a hug. Too bad nobody hugs a cactus." "Hi," said a lizard. "Who invited you?" said Hank. "And just in case you're wondering, I don't want a hug." "That's good," said the lizard, "because I don't want to give you one." Then he skittered away. An owl landed on the roof. "If you're looking for a hug," said Hank, "well, I guess I could give you one." "Ooh, me?" said the owl. You must be joking." And for the first time, Hank began to feel a little lonely. The next morning, Hank was feeling more sad on the inside than prickly. Maybe a hug wouldn't be so bad after all. The wind began to pick up. An old cup blew by and stuck to Hank's face. His arms were too short to get it off. "Great," said Hank. After a while, Rosie came bouncing by. "I'll get it off you, Hank," she shouted, and she jumped up to knock the cup off Hank's face. Then she tumbled away. Hank didn't have time to thank Rosie. He felt bad about all the other times he had been so rude to her. So he came up with a plan. Hank decided to grow the best flower he could and then give it to Rosie as a thank you gift. It took days, but at last it was ready. He couldn't wait for Rosie to pass by again. When at last she finally did come bouncing back, Hank held out the flower. "Look, Rosie," he said, "I grew it just for you." Rosie was so surprised she jumped up and gave Hank a great big hug. It felt so nice, Hank didn't want to let go. And as things turned out, he couldn't. Rosie and Hank had become stuck together. But they didn't care. After all, it's better to be stuck in a hug than stuck all alone. The end. All right. Book number 2, Penguin Flies Home. By Lita Judge. Penguin loved to fly. It was true he needed a little help with the technical parts, but that's why he worked hard as a student at flight school. And his teacher said, "It isn't feathers that you need most to fly, it's heart, and this penguin has heart." "And the soul of an eagle," Penguin added. Penguin loved everything about flying. The feel of the wind beneath his wings, the song that rose from his little round belly, the sight of new and wonderful places. Everything except for that whisper of sadness that drifted into his heart when the sun set and the stars floated overhead. He knew his penguin friends far away at home were looking at the same stars. "I wish they could feel the wind beneath their wings like I do," he told Teacher and Flamingo. "Penguin must be homesick," thought Teacher. She and Flamingo fought all night, and by dawn they had hatched a beautiful plan. At takeoff the next morning, Teacher declared, "Field trip!" Soon the birdies were flying, further than they'd ever had before. They flipped and flapped for days, which turned into weeks, until at last, welcome to the South Pole. They had brought Penguin home. Penguin's friends gathered the moment he arrived. They had missed him too. Penguin introduced them to Teacher, Flamingo, and Egret. He told them all about his adventures at flight school, and then he said Teacher could show them how to fly. Wait, what? I don't think so. I think we heard wrong. Penguins don't fly. "Follow me, birdies," Penguin said. "It's time for class to begin. First you flap, flap, flap. Flip, flap, flap. And then you jump up, 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 up." "Now, birdies, before we can take off, we must practice our landings." Plop, plop, plop. "I think I'll go swimming." "Yes, swimming!" "We are penguins. We love to swim." In their excitement, they rushed off. Leaving Penguin alone. "Why don't they want to fly?" he asked Flamingo. "Not everyone is like you, dear, with dreams as high as the stars." "They must think I'm ridiculous," Penguin said. He went to sit by himself. "Will my friends like me if we don't share the same dreams?" As the sun sank, The midnight sky began to shimmer, and the desire to fly called out to him from deep inside his soul. You have to listen to things like that deep, even if it means you'll be different from everyone else. The next morning, Penguin walked slowly back to tell his friends he was going to return with Teacher Flamingo and Egret to flight school. But the colony was waiting for him with a surprise! The other penguins didn't think he was ridiculous. They were proud of him. Their ice sculpture says, "Our friend, Penguin, dreamer, flyer extraordinaire." They told him they were sad to see him leave, but they understood he had to follow his dreams, that no matter how far he flew, they promised to look up at the sky and think of him, and that even if he had the soul of an eagle, he would always be a little round penguin with dreams as high as the stars. And friends who love him sing safe travels, come back soon, remember to write home. The end. I hope you enjoyed those books. I'll see you next time.